had an intro idea, a little brief thing, if you'll indulge me. Turkey for you, turkey for me. Let's eat. I've already fucked it up. Oh, no, I already fucked it up. Oh, my song that's so important to me.
Look what you've done.
Turkey for the girls and turkey for the boys. My favorite kind of pants are corduroys. People thought this was the funniest shit you've ever heard. Gobble, gobble, goo, and gobble, gobble, giggle. I wish turkey only costs a nickel. Oh, I love turkey on Thanksgiving. It's going off. With Rap Critic, Muse, and I'm so sorry you had to hear that, but hey, look, you know, we all have the songs that bring us back to that moment in time, you know, and I can't 100% say in honesty, in earnest, that the Thanksgiving song by Adam Sandler is that song for me.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Bringing Adam Sandler's name back into this podcast.
I'm not even exaggerating. I don't know if it's like that down here, but when I was in New Jersey, they would play that song on, like, morning Zoo Crew radio shows, like, on, like, the day before Thanksgiving or on I would hear it all the fucking time, dude. And it didn't help that it was on one of the CDs of which I owned. So, you know, inevitably would run into it every so often. We've got Rev in the house!
Hey. How do you feel about Adam Sandler's movies?
We're not talking about the movies, we're talking about the albums.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. How do you feel about Adam Sandler's albums, the comedic masterpieces that they are?
Classics. Hold them in the same regard as, like, you know, Illmatic, Low End Theory.
Yeah, remember that one time he did an offensive Mexican person's voice? And then that other time when he did, like, an offensive other type of person's voice?
Yeah, I've patterned my whole career based off those impressions, actually.
Rev is constantly on the run from people who are saying, hey, isn't that from that one? And before they even get the fucking name out, you're just on to the next town. Like, oh no, they've caught wise.
Yeah.
I fucking did this joke on Chippy Chubby, and they already realized it was from What's Your Name? The quintessential Adam Sandler album from what? 96, 97? Too bad. I gotta split.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta get the fuck out of Dodge.
But, you know, Adam Sandler is just a gift that keeps on giving, you know, so there's so many impressions that he's done throughout the years that I can always just adapt to a new thing based off of an offensive impression he's done in the past. So
people don't really talk about those albums enough, so at this point, I think if you were to exactly recite a skit from one of those albums word for word, I don't think anyone would know what you were doing. Did either of you even know that I was singing an Adam Sandler song?
No, I didn't know until you said it.
I didn't even know Adam Sandler had albums.
I really do think his albums are like a what's the word?
Classic.
A wasteland of just like awful comedy. I recently had gotten into a podcast where they were going through like Adam Sandler's movies, and then when they got to the end of his movies, they started listening to his albums, and I was just like, you know, I'd always only seen the movies, you know, as a kid, and it's like, oh yeah, of course that's the movie that you see when you're in 4th grade with your friends. You go see Little Nicky at the sleepover, you know, whatever, and like I'd always known it was there. I had never heard like the full albums of just ridiculously unfunny material where it's just like, is that the joke? Is that the only joke you had? Like, just doing, recess teacher gets beat up or something like that. Just like, that's all you had for a minute and a half, and then, now the Spanish teacher gets beat up. Yeah? Isn't this comedy?
It fucking works for you when you're in 6th grade, dude. I don't know what you're talking about. We fucking ate that shit up.
Honestly, I don't know enough about Adam Sandler to really comment. All I remember is that as a kid, I definitely enjoyed the whole 9 yards or the longest yard, whatever it was called.
Of all the Adam Sandler comedies to name, that was the one that came up for you?
That's the one that I actually recalled watching, and I remember liking it because, I don't know, I liked football.
Fucking jock.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember liking it because I was a huge Chris Rock fan. Nelly was in it, and I was like, oh shit.
Like, how many times have we been, Chris Rock is in this movie? I've got to see it. Like, how many times has that really happened for you, you know?
You know what? It has happened because what wasn't like Madagascar.
Was that one you were like, David Schwimmer, and I might not check. Wait, Chris Rock. Oh, he's going to be giving his comedic stylings to this children's movie. Gotta check this one out. This is going to be the next Shrek.
Right, but even as a kid, I was just like, yeah, I loved the voices that both Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock would do. They had like these very...
They do have very distinct voices. Like,
yeah,
like
very animated.
Like, I don't want to say like the ranting, angry guy voice that Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock both get into. Like, there's a Chris Rock that sounds like this when he's very reserved. And then it's like the one that sounds like this, get it out. You know what I mean?
So as a kid, especially, I already love animation. You know, just in general. You can put me in front of any animated movie and I'll be interested. But if you're telling me Chris Rock is voicing one of the characters, then that's going to sell me even further. And that was the case with Madagascar. And one other thing I wanted to say about The Longest Yard, if I recall correctly, like a few members of D12 were in it. It was a really weird lineup. They had Terry Crews, they had Joey Diaz. They had members of D12, Nelly, Chris Rock. Like, it's all over the place. It's
kind of like with Mystery Men, where there's like randomly Goody Mob is in that movie.
What's so funny about Mystery Men is that the song All Star by Smash Mouth is from Mystery Men, but everyone associates it with Shrek. But if you go back and you watch the music video, it's chock full of Mystery Men shit. Yep. Can you imagine what people today must think when they go back and watch the music video for All Star? They don't know what the fuck is going on, why any of these people are in this music video, or what they're doing.
Did he cook in this video? What the fuck is happening?
When was the first time you heard that song, by the way? All Star.
Where were you when you first heard All Star?
Yeah, where were you? Yeah, for me, it was the Digimon movie, the first Digimon movie.
Oh yeah,
That's right. The English version where they spliced the first 3 Japanese movies.
Of course.
But it was actually, you know, as a kid, that was like a slight against it. But now that I'm an adult and I revisited it, it's like a classic. They took so many liberties with the localization, and it's actually kind of brilliant. Like the main character Ty's mom says like the weirdest shit throughout the movie.
That specifically the part with the virus. That's the most like improved, interesting part of it all.
Yeah. There's a lot. You could tell that they had a couple of writers in there that were like really having fun.
But I specifically do remember, like, even as a kid, like having that feeling of like, oh wow, like it's cool that I'm watching the Digimon movie, and then like by the time you get to the end where it's just like here's these cool looking new characters, but for some reason I don't feel like I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, I was so sold on that movie way ahead of time, because I remember I just bought VHS tapes of like, you know, the Digimon TV show. I'd buy Pokemon. At the end of like every other tape, they would have like, you know, advertisements like for other shows and movies. And the Digimon movie trailer was so fire. It was like so many colors, things moving, music. Oh my god, we gotta save the world.
Wait, let me ask you. You said you got a couple of the VHSs. Do you remember the ad for I think it was Ranma 1/2? I think it was.
Yes.
It's like the song was like gotta be heard ready.
Oh my god!
It was like really orange tinted, and it was like maybe before, and it was like a panda or something like that. And I never knew what that was. Apparently, it's like part of this. It's part of a really classic anime, right?
But I think that was like a very intentional tactic, right? Just to like, what the fuck did I just see? And as a kid, you need like excessive stimulus to really grab your attention.
I remember they said something about the Tendo training camp or something like that. They mentioned that at one point, and my brain as a kid went like, "Oh, is this like Nintendo, like a training area? Is this like, you know what I mean? Because this Pokemon, hey, maybe there's some sort of affiliated thing going on." But that was
yeah. The Pokemon VHS cassettes would always have like the training card game advertisements where they'd be like, oh, they have a league, a trading card game league.
You see those kids who were like super like whacked out and happy because they were like fast forwarding the camera and shit.
Well, yeah, but they still but these kids, they had like decks and they were like walking around like there's tables and people are playing. I remember like I was 8 seeing those kids, and they must have been like 12 or 13. And I thought, wow, when I grow up, I want to be like them. They're adults. Because I was just the right age when Pokemon came out. It was before I was 10. And in the series, Ash becomes 10, and like obviously, you know, when you're 10, as we all do, we leave our families and go on adventures, right?
Embark on a new life in the wilderness.
Yeah, so I was convinced as a kid that 10 is like an important, like now you're going to be taken seriously. Now you live your own life, and I was really looking forward to it.
Oh man, you know it'd be so funny if like so many kids, like I mean, if it did happen, you know, there would have been like a huge like news story overinflating it, but it would have been so funny if there was just like a whole bunch of kids who just like they watch Pokemon for a while and it's like, oh hey, I turned 10, all right, it's time for me to go out and, you know, start doing stuff, and they just like reach the end of the block and it's like, where do I go?
Timmy, where are you going? Farewell, mother. I will be venturing out on my journey now.
It's time for me to go out into the wild blue yonder and start catching random animals. Maybe I'll start with a squirrel. We don't have Pokeballs, but maybe I'll make like really tiny cages out of sticks.
I'll write to you. It'll have a lot of mistakes in it, and it'll look all squiggly, but I'll write.
A funny thing of like, just in general 90s stuff of, you know, kids rule sort of thing. And like Pokemon is kind of like a facet of that with its narrative of like, oh yeah, at 10, you know what's up.
Yeah, no, 90s definitely made it cool to be a kid. The 90s made it so cool to be a kid, and it felt like I didn't want to grow up, you know, on the one hand. And the 90s was such like a weird era because like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were still pretty popular. Mm-hmm. And you had a whole lot of new media, and there was this fixation on grossness.
Garbage Pail Kids, they all had wacky names, gross out pictures. We talked about like Ren and Stimpy and so much of Nickelodeon in general.
Oh, yes.
Booger Man on the Sega Genesis and SNES.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another thing where you flicked boogers and farted and burped on your enemies, and if you ate a chili, you could fly.
All the things that aren't directly related to the penis or asshole are the things
which is as a kid, I mean, that was like all I really cared about. Not the penis and asshole, but I meant like the idea of like the idea of taking something that's like gross and annoys adults.
Oh,
and turning it up, you know, like just like really, and I think that's actually stuck with me.
Yeah, that was kid humor, basically, wasn't it?
I think that stuck with me as someone who was a 90s kid. I still find like I derive joy not from just toilet humor, but humor that pisses other people off. Humor that, and I'm not in like an edgy way, right? But a humor in a way where it's like, oh, come on, man, that's fucking stupid. You know, like that's gross. Stop. I thought we were going to get a resurgence of that 90s feel, you know, when the slime stuff started coming back and people were like talking about slime
on YouTube, wasn't it? Nickelodeon really dropped the ball.
I know, they really missed an opportunity there.
I'm sure they have like a whole bunch of like kids shows. I think there was one about like, oh, kids playing with slime or something. It was something like that.
No, but even now, I feel like it's so different because like when the slime thing happened recently on YouTube, I say recently, it was a couple of years ago, but it was kind of like, yeah, look at it, it's so pretty, it's neat, haha. In the 90s, it was, the adverts were like people shoving their whole fists into like containers with them and go, ew, gross, and like they'll put sound effects like, ew, nasty. Yeah, splat! Oh, your mother's gonna hate this shit.
It's all about the aesthetic of like, oh, it's so pleasing and it's so calming.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, because I see a whole bunch of it where it's like, oh, there's glitter and toys in it, so you're like playing with it and trying to get it out and stuff, yeah.
I feel like it's good. The 90s should be the 90s, right?
Yeah.
We can look back on it. But yeah, I'm curious to see if there's gonna be some sort of similar resurgence because things seem to be fairly cyclical.
Things evolve with new technology and new ideas added onto them. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so I'd be interested to see how that might manifest itself, you know, at some point in the future for sure.
Because we watch so many 90s commercials on Riff Break, I've learned, or at least realized, because when you're in the thick of it, you don't really pick up on it.
Yeah, of course.
The 90s was so obnoxious. Like all the commercials for kid stuff are people like shoving their whole face in the fucking screen and just yelling something or making a weird face. Just like, it's like, why are you doing this? Why is everything so loud?
if someone shoved me into a time machine and sent me back to the 90s, I would invest in like whatever company was producing fisheye lenses.
Yeah.
That's where I'd put my money.
Busta Rhymes music videos,
All the
kids
music
commercials.
videos and all the adverts, you know, whenever like an old person, like whenever they had advertisements for like consoles or video games and it'd be an old person, the camera would be like so uncomfortably close to the old person, like, yeah, you better stop it. What is this video game? Give me newspaper or whatever they would say, right? Like, I understand newspaper, but this video game thing is, what is it? And so yeah, I really, but the obnoxiousness now, I look back on it, it feels so warm and nostalgic, and I mean, I always associated it with my obsession with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because I feel like now as a kid, just thinking about, like back then I wanted to be Donatello. Now, whenever I think about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think to myself, like, man, they really live in the fucking sewers, huh? Like, that's fucking shit. Nasty. Yeah. How could you eat pizza there? Like, you would, grody. Like, you would. How can you taste the pizza if all you smell is piss and shit, right? Like, I can't get that out of my head. But as a kid, to me, it was like, yo, you're like, this is like your secret lair.
Like, doesn't it look cool where it's like real dank and, you know, like, yeah, it's dark. And it's like, you can go anywhere, but like no one would know where you are because you're underground.
No one know, you're underground. And yeah, it seemed like, because, you know, when you're a kid, you also like to maybe find like a secret spot where only you and your friends know of. And you're like, yo, this is where we should bring stuff here. Like,
let's bring it to the sewer.
You've been hanging out with your friends, like going into a forest, and then you find like some sort of tree that has like a bunch of vines like draped over it, so that it looks like it could be a little hut, and you're like, oh yeah, we're hanging out in here for a while, you know?
Yeah. But if you found like a fucking a massive pipe that leads into like the sewage system, as a kid, that maybe like feels like a great idea, but you don't even need to step inside to be discouraged. You know, the smell will hit you way before you approach it. So
wait.
So it's
how am I getting back up? Hold on.
Like the Ninja Turtles and Master Splinter, like they're fucking turtles and a rat. Like they're not really gonna mind the sewer system, but if April O'Neil were to go down there, like, hey, let me take a peek at your digs, and fucking was like, oh yeah, we're going down to the fucking sewer, like, how long would she last before she's like, nah, I gotta get the fuck out of here?
Yeah.
Did they ever do that in the episode? Did they ever bring up, like, oh, you gotta come down to the sewer with us to, you know, get away from Shredder? And then she comes out and she's like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ!
Fuck that!
It's a fucking kids cartoon, but April O'Neil still says fuck no, and they don't censor it.
She's like, I'd rather be kidnapped. God damn, it smells like a fucking foot mixed with solid ass down here.
We're speaking about the 90s, and I had an idea of a really short possible game for the two of y'all. You might remember MTV released a series of compilation albums in 1999 called MTV The First 1,000 Years.
MTV The First 1,000 Years. Enter the new millennium with the best of R&B, rock, hip-hop, and new wave. Pick one up or collect all four, now and until the end of time.
It only encapsulates like about maybe 25 of those years, but it was supposed to correlate with, hey, it's the new millennium, this is going to be the wrap up. So they released an album, The First 1,000 Years of Hip Hop. There are 16 tracks that MTV deemed the I guess quintessential, the best of the best. I want y'all to guess at songs you think would be on this compilation, but once you get, I'm gonna say, 5 guesses that are wrong, you're out, because I don't want this game to take forever. But I think it's curious because some of these are weird. It was released
this is the first 1,000 years.
It was released in November of 1999, so anything prior to that is fair game.
Because I'm thinking like, oh, maybe they'll show some love to Sir Mix-a-Lot, you know, and realize how controversial it is, you know, how important it was. Or is this in 99 where we're still like, well, we don't want to talk about it at this point? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it that, or? I guess you'll have to guess and find out.
Oh,
Rav,
shit.
I'm going to let you, as the guest on this show, have the first guess as to what you think might be on this album.
So I was first thinking, like, in my head, I'm thinking maybe Run DMC.
What song?
Man, knowing that it's MTV, I'm trying to think, like, would it be... It wouldn't be Run's House. It would have to be something like Walk This Way, the remix.
Rav has one on the board. Walk This Way is on this CD. RC.
Next one has to be LL Cool J. Something from him, right?
Yeah, it has
LL
to.
Cool J. Let me see here. No, that is one strike.
What? That was going to be my next guess.
That is one strike.
Goddamn.
For RC. Rav, your turn.
Beastie Boys, Fight for Your Right.
That is your first strike, not on here.
No, what?
RC, your turn.
Dude, you should have just said the band first. You should have immediately
Oh, fuck, you're right. Is it too late to just say Beastie Boys?
Yes, it is, because they're not on there at all. Darren, your
what?
turn.
Wait a minute.
No Beastie Boys? This is MTV, no Beastie Boys?
Absolutely
Rihanna is
none.
the fucking dude who made the Tic Tac Toe song.
Yo, fuck this list. No Beastie Boys? Wow, no LL Cool J or Beastie Boys.
No.
Yeah, this list is what's getting judged now, not us.
Wow, yeah. That means the
Yeah, we're
only
not
Def
bad
Jam
as they are.
representation is Run DMC. That's it. And it's like the one song that is like the most accessible to white
Oh
people.
my God.
Wow.
RC, your turn.
Damn. What? All right, let me. I had someone in my head. Let me try to get him back. This is 1999. Busta Rhymes.
Let me see here. Busta Rhymes, you say. That is your second strike, RC.
Oh,
Absolutely
shit.
no.
Are you kidding me?
No Busta
No
Rhymes.
East Coast
What
love.
in the world?
Nope.
Damn.
Rav.
Okay. NWA.
Okay.
That's got to be one.
What song?
Okay, let's think. It's not going to be a controversial song, so they're not going to have Fuck the Police. So they're probably either going to have Straight Outta Compton or Express Yourself. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say Express Yourself because it's even less controversial than Straight Outta Compton. Because
that's a
Express
good
Yourself
one.
is the least controversial NWA song. It's got to be that.
Rav has 2 tracks on the board. Express Yourself is on the album.
Boy.
RC.
Okay, Missy Elliott?
That is your third strike. No Missy
Get the fuck
Elliott.
out of here! I'm trying to guess like iconic music videos, and these motherfuckers are like, nope, not good enough.
It's not necessarily the music video. It's just the song itself, if that helps any.
Oh, okay. They definitely have to have some other Dr. Dre stuff on there because he brought like hip hop to the mainstream during the 90s. So it's got to be Dr. Dre. It's got to be Snoop on there. Now, I don't know if they have Snoop just as by himself or with Dre as part of the Chronic album. I'm going to go with the latter because it was such a big album. And I'm going to say, fuck. Okay. Which one is more like poppy? None But a G Thing.
Rav has 3 tracks on the
Yeah, I can see
board.
that one.
Yeah, that one makes sense. That one, I would have been mad if they didn't have that one.
RC, you're back. You have 2 more strikes to go, and you're
Oh
out.
my god, do they have Outkast?
Yes. What song?
Thank God. Thank fucking God.
They do have Outkast, but it can't be anything after 1999.
Uh-huh.
So that makes it a little hard again.
No.
What the fuck did they do? Because 99 is like the weird teetering spot where they did do Bombs Over Baghdad. But
Yeah, but this is
no, that might have been 2000.
yeah, this is still pre Miss Jackson for sure.
Yeah.
Like
Ah, shit, it was previous. Yeah, because that had to be 2000.
Yeah.
So it had to be before Stankonia. Oh my god.
yeah, it has to.
So this is before they even fucking knew what was gonna happen. And they're like, oh, we're pretty sure we know what's gonna be the best Outkast music video.
Yeah.
God damn. But all the ones I'm thinking about are all the ones that we now in 2020 know are like. So I'd probably go with what was on the second album.
ATLiens.
Elevators.
That is your 4th strike. Elevator's not on the board.
Oh my God.
Rav, back to you.
I have no fucking clue. How do? Oh, okay. Oh man, I have no players ball.
You've got it. Players ball
God
is.
fucking
Oh, thank fuck.
that was my second guess.
Oh man, man. That's weird though. That's the song they went with.
I know.
Yeah, that's
like when it comes
that's
to
really weird.
Outcast now, like, you know.
I mean, it's a good song. It's a really good song, but that's
But
really.
like, if I were to say to you, "Oh yeah, name the big Outcast song," even before '99, like you're not thinking.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would have gone with the same pick you did.
RC, it is back to you. You've got one more
Oh,
strike.
fuck's sake. I have no idea what the fuck else could be on this list. It's 99.
Mm-hmm.
Is Eminem out yet?
No, well, yes, but yeah, no, he would have been out. That's right,
But
because
his video wouldn't have got. See, that's another thing. Like,
yeah.
It's 99, so like a video from 99 probably isn't making the list. You know?
I'm gonna
Yeah.
say no. Let me double check because these tracks are in chronological order. No, the latest track on
Are
here is
any
from
of these
'97.
the 80s? Any of these from the 80s?
I can't tell you that.
that
Okay,
means yes. That means yes.
The last one I would go with, just to say fuck it, would be Bismarcky's Just a Friend.
No, you are out, my friend. No, Bismarcky.
no.
Okay.
Disorder, heresy.
Okay.
This is a kangaroo court.
Okay, don't worry. I'll carry on the good fight for us.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay.
You've only got the one strike, so you have 4 to play with.
Okay, I got 4 to play with. I'm thinking. Okay, well, actually, I have one that I'm gonna just go with because I feel like this list would probably put it on it. Rapper's Delight.
Rapper's Delight. No, I'm sorry. That is not
Get
on here,
this shit
surprisingly.
out of here.
No Rapper's Delight.
Okay, I'm gonna go with The Message.
Yep, The Message is the first track
Okay.
on the CD.
So there we go.
Okay, all right.
Okay, that makes sense.
They just knew they had to cover their bases with that one.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, they had to. If they didn't, that'd be kind of weird. That's like, yeah, no, you have to include that song. I'm surprised they didn't include Rapper's Delight. That
Maybe for time.
That one didn't have the music video, I think.
I see. You think? You think that
Yeah.
was the reason?
The other one has the music video that people remember. You know, Broken
That's true. It
Glass
is MTV.
everywhere, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Gangsta's Paradise.
Gangsta's Paradise. No, I am sorry. That is your third strike.
Okay. Wow. No, Gangsta's Paradise.
No.
Wow. Okay. I thought I knew MTV.
You thought you
Pre
knew.
1999.
You
I
knew
thought
wrong.
I did.
Let's see.
Okay, I'm just trying to think. Like, okay, House of Pain, Jump Around.
Yep. Jump Around is in fact
fuck's
on the CD.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to see the kind of stuff they would
Oh,
include.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah. What's the other white artist? What, fucking Snow's Informer? Are they going to go for that one, too?
I will say, because we're talking about it also, I will say this is one gimme. No Vanilla Ice either.
Okay, well,
No
good.
Snow, no Vanilla Ice.
Okay, do we have Biggie?
Gotta be.
Yeah, it's 99. You have to, like...
No
it'd be-
Biggie. Nope.
What in the
Are
fuck?
you kidding
They
me?
died.
No Biggie.
They died not even like 5 years
Nope.
prior to this, and they're just like, nah, not good
He died
enough.
2 years prior to this
Yeah.
list, and he didn't
No
get...
love.
Wow. What? Really?
He can eat a dick.
Okay.
You've got one
Pac?
strike left.
We got Pac?
We do have Pac, yes.
Okay. Okay, MTV music video.
It's
It
gotta
has
be
to
the
probably
big
be
hit.
like a dope music video. What is the best Tupac music video? Not song, music video.
Oh, I know what I
What
would
do you
think.
think? What do you think? Do you think? Because in terms of music videos, in terms of songs, I would go like Dear Mama. But if I'm thinking of like music videos, it'd have to be like California Love, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's
That feels like...
it's the most outrageous one. So we're gonna go with California Love.
California Love is on the CD, yes.
Wow. So they made a definitive decision about who they think is better.
They did.
Yeah, they didn't include
They
Big,
drew
but
their
they
line
include-
in the sand, yeah.
And this is a third Dre feature on this list. Like,
Yeah.
Drake, hey, look, the man dominated the 90s.
He really did.
That's true. He certainly did. Yeah. Do we have Snoop aside from
Yes.
Nothing But a G Thing?
Yes, we do.
Okay, cool.
I think
You think? Come on, let's help each other out here. What do you think it is?
I'm thinking what they're gonna go with is the one that people remember that was super controversial, which is the "Murder Is the Case" music video. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, okay. That's
just
actually
my
really
suggestion
good.
I'm doing.
Okay, yeah, no, that's good because I was thinking. Yeah, I was also thinking either that or What's My Name, but I think you're probably right because that music video was a lot more, I think, memorable in terms of how people talked about it. So yeah, let's go. Murder Was the Case.
RC was right. Or you were right. It was What's My Name. So that is the first strike. Well, now
we did well. Come on.
you did do very well. Now, here to fill in the gaps, these are on the album in chronological order of release.
okay.
So the Message is first. Then we got Walk This Way. Colors by Ice-T.
Oh
Wow. Okay.
Wild Thing by Tone Loc.
Oh wow.
Express
Loc.
Yourself, NWA. The Humpty Dance, Digital Underground.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm glad.
Yeah,
That's
for
good.
sure.
That's good. That's a good inclusion.
Jump Around, House of Pain. Friends of the Show, Arrested Development with Tennessee.
Okay. Yeah, the MTV crowd thought they were going to be more important and pivotal to hip hop than they ended up being. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Then we got Rebirth of Slick, Cool Like That,
Ooh,
Diggable
okay.
Planets.
Oh wow.
It Was a Good Day by Ice Cube.
Oh, why didn't I think of that one? Yeah, of course.
None But a G Thing. Then there's Coolio with
What?
Fantastic Voyage.
Yeah.
What? Fantastic Voyage and not Gangsta's
No, they were going to
Paradise?
go with Fantastic Voyage because that's the more safe one. Even though that was the one from the movie that ended up being the #1 fucking song of '95 that year.
Yeah, but like Gangsta's Paradise, like come on, it was like a cultural thing. You had Weird Al's version as well and
That's
everything.
true.
Like, oh man, okay, that's weird. I thought Gangsta's Paradise had a bigger cultural impact, so that was gonna be the one. Okay,
Then you got Players
interesting.
Ball. Then you got California Love. Then you got track number 16, the last song, chronologically speaking. So they thought, this is the best we've got. Make 'em say, by Master P.
You know what?
no.
I'm glad. I'm glad that they put that there. I would be less angry if they at least had one Biggie song though. Like,
yeah.
why would you put a? Oh, how could you? Why would you put make him say but not put Hypnotic or
Above
something on
Biggie.
it? Come on.
Yeah.
Hypnotic or Juicy, I don't know how you don't do that if you've got California Love by Tupac on there. Like, come on.
Yeah, I don't get it. So that means they had no Nas, no Jay-Z, no Tribe Called Quest.
Nope.
Because that was going to be my guess. I was going to say Electric Relaxation at some point.
Oh.
Yeah, or some sort of a Tribe Called Quest song. Because like Tribe basically paved the way for the 90s. Like the start of the 90s, they were like, doing hip hop in a way that no one was really doing
Like
it.
they were, weren't they? Like they were kind of the first guys to do it like quieter than everyone else was doing it. Because I remember people specifically saying,
Right,
this is
yeah.
the time, everyone's rapping, everyone's trying to get your attention, everyone's shouting like, yo, I'm the best rapper, da da da. And they were like, oh, I'm just kind of chilling and I'm sampling jazz songs,
I feel like it's a combination of that and the production style. Because I mean, you did have Rakim and Big Daddy Kane
that's
who were
true.
more about the that and the net and the
That
chill.
was
And I
right
feel
around
like
the same
Q-Tip.
time. Before, no, yeah, Rakim was before.
Yeah, because I feel like Q-Tip has like a lot of similarities with Rakim in terms of delivery. It's up close and personal and kind of chill,
Yeah. Rakim's got more complex by the time A Tribe Called Quest came out.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Rakim had like multis and Q-Tip wasn't really doing multis back then. Neither was Five, but they had the jazzy production and the whole like native tongues movement definitely reinvented hip hop in terms of like the sonics for sampling and paved the way, I think, for for people like Dilla, Madlib, and even New Job is, and that's why I feel like that this is the reason why Starbucks all over the world now are playing Tribe Called Quest all of a sudden, and all these coffee shops are playing Tribe Called Quest because it fits, in people's lo-fi hip hop playlists now because it has that same sound. So it's yeah, but they definitely were great innovators in that, and I thought they'd be important enough to put on that list. So I'm a little mad. They don't have De La, they don't have Tribe.
No.
They don't have Nas.
No De La
That's
Soul,
a bit of a
yeah.
shame.
That's
Yeah,
a really
no
good...
Gangstar.
Yeah, if you're talking about like early days like Yo MTV Raps and shit like
Yeah.
that, it's a glaring
The
omission.
Beastie Boys was the biggest of a
Beastie
surprise
Boys,
for me,
like,
though.
what?
Honestly, like...
no Beastie
one of the
Boys or LL? Come
like
on.
first kind of out the gate, really making a big presence on MTV. Beastie Boys got to be on there. No Fight for Your Right. No
Yeah, they were touring
Sabotage.
with Madonna and like
Yeah.
come on, man. They had so many big songs in the 90s and so many good songs, you know, like and they when I think 90s hip hop music videos, like up like close to the, you know, like rapping right into the camera and being almost obnoxious, I think the Beastie Boys, you know, like
They got the fisheye. Yeah.
yeah, the fisheye. That's like such a 90s, like I think immediately Beastie Boys, like all of them just like all up in their fucking camera. It was a mood.
Vanilla Ice and Hard to Swallow from 1998. Requested by Dakota Drobnicki. So thank you very much, Dakota, for your support. Oh boy.
Do your supporters just love torturing y'all?
It's a mixed bag, I'd say. Sometimes it's an album they love, you know, and they want to hear our thoughts. Other times, yeah, it's I want to see you squirm. I want to hear you absolutely miserable.
I got to hear about half of this album, just over half, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
what am I doing? Do I want this to be part of my life when I reach the end to be like, yep, you definitely spent 49 minutes listening to Vanilla Ice's Hard to Swallow for some reason.
Yeah. I was having breakfast. And I put it on, and I'm like, as soon as I hear it, I'm like,
I'm having good food. Why am I doing this to myself?
What is happening? Oh no.
I think you got a pretty good idea as to what the album is, because honestly, the second half isn't even really worth listening to. So, for a little bit of background, because I think y'all will find this interesting as to the other folks featured on the album besides Ice, who would later go by V Ice. The rock musicians on this new metal album. It's actually quite a super group we've got here. We've got Shannon Larkin on drums. He is the current Godsmack drummer, who was previously with Darren's favorite, Ugly Kid Joe. Then we've got Sonny Mayo on guitar, who also performed with Ugly Kid Joe in 2012, was one of the founding members of the band Snot, and also performed with Head PE, another artist we've just recently reviewed.
The cavalcade of talent.
Oh yeah, and the hits keep on coming. We've got Doug Ardito on guitar, who is from Puddle of Mud, who co-wrote their biggest hit, Blurry. We've got Scott Borland on keyboard, who is brother of Wes Borland of Limp Bizkit, and also performed on the three big Limp Bizkit albums. That's $3 Bill Y'all, Fucking Significant Other, and Hot Dog Flavored Water.
So we're placed right where we need to be.
And we've also got to give some love to DJ Swamp, who provided the scratching on the record, whose work you can hear at the beginning of Crystal Method's Name of the Game. This is where the stars come out to shine, on Vanilla Ice Hard to Swallow. We've got the producer, who worked on some of Korn's most well-known work, Limp Bizkit. He was the new metal guy at this point in time. And Vanilla Ice comes up and he's like, hey, I want to make this album. He's never heard Korn. He's never heard Limp Bizkit. But somehow he's able to make one of the most derivative sounding albums that sounds like a guy who just said, yeah, give me that. I want it to sound like exactly that. But it's weird, because he was like, no, I just want it to sound hard and angry, and this is what we got.
Because he wanted to make a point about, this isn't your dad's Vanilla Ice.
But see, this is the thing. He doesn't want you to forget he's Vanilla Ice, though, because
that's the thing too.
we'll get to it in a little bit.
It's the same thing with the MC Hammer album, where it's just like, I'm a hardcore gangster now, but don't forget that I sold 10 million records with that cheesy image I had 4 years ago. Like, they're doing it for the sake of like, oh, but this is part of the brag, right? But like, but aren't you trying to make me forget about that? Like, it's so confusing.
Before we get to the actual review, Rev, did you make it to Too Cold?
Yes.
Oh, good.
I pulled up the Wikipedia article for this just because I was curious.
Nice.
And in the reception section, it says the Iowa State Daily called the album the greatest pop culture comeback of all time. The album, and then the next sentence is a really short one. The album did not chart.
I think I read in that article that someone compared it to John Travolta's resurgence in Pulp Fiction.
No.
Like, he is back on the scene with a new image. He is gonna be making big waves in the late 90s.
Look out. It's Travolta fever.
I saw one person say that Vanilla Ice almost single-handedly destroyed hip-hop, although he would say quite the alternative on that. Well, I'll get to that in a second as to what I'm referring to, but someone said that because Vanilla Ice is now working on nu metal is likely to be the next genre to fade out. It had a few more years in it, but yeah, they're not entirely wrong.
I mean, I think it peaked with Linkin Park, right?
Yeah, Linkin Park was the...
Yeah.
Linkin Park was like how Nirvana took the hair metal of the 80s and turned it into grunge. Linkin Park took the nu metal of the late 90s and turned it into that kind of alt rock that we heard in the early 2000s.
So, gentlemen, do you wish to dig in?
Yeah.
I can
think we're just
wait.
avoiding the inevitable at this point.
Track fucking one just opens you up, just gets you ready for what's going on with a little bit of Popeye pirate scatting for you.
Yo, he fucking sampled Havin' a Roni on this goddamn intro track? Skim babbly bim bam bim bam bam.
Who did the hook? Was that him?
I think so, yeah.
It's my living condition.
Why does my man try to run me action? I'm like, whoa. Like,
what happened?
I was like, wow,
what
Vanilla Ice
happened?
is the guy who, you know him for the guy who's trying to sound black, but he's different from the Snow guy who's trying to sound Jamaican, and, well, can't say that anymore.
I feel like every major record label needs to hire a person in every one of their studios who sits there and says, stop doing the patois.
It really does feel like, as I look back and see, like, just how many people were doing that, like, for a recent episode, I had to, go back and listen to, like, nu metal, and, like, I wanted to, give the genre its due, and as I'm listening to it, like, there's so much, like, 311 and shit, where it's just like, oh, you have to come original, you have to come original, and it's so, like, it's so not believable, you know what I mean? Just like immediately you're just like, what is he doing? And it's like, do you guys think this just sounds cool? But it's like, you could tell there were no other black people in the room to be like, hey, where are you trying to sound like that Jamaican? Are you trying to sound like Shabba? Oh, no, don't do that.
No, don't do that. No, please stop. I mean, who is this music for? When the first song came on, it reminded me of that Ja Rule Metallica song. Y'all know what I'm talking about? The one, just when you thought it was over, just when you thought it was done, just when you thought it was, whatever, like, yeah, we did it again.
Whoa.
Like, that is what it reminds me of. I was like, yes. For me, nu metal always felt like, I know this is going to sound like very generalized, but like white people trying to hijack this new culture that's becoming very popular.
Yeah, it interestingly is in a weird way. Like, there's some aspects of it where you're like, oh, hey, they were trying to be creative. Like, if you look up, like, Korn, it's like, oh, we were trying to, like, mimic what hip-hop sounds like, but with our... It's like, oh, that's an interesting, cool idea, you know?
Well, there's a difference between a fusion of, like, styles and trying to, like, play around with different sounds. And then I think sometimes, like, with this album, for instance, it just feels like there is no heart. There is no... oh wow, I wasn't listening to this like, damn, everyone who's working on this is so happy to be making this. They're so excited. You can tell they're all in sync. You know, I never got that impression. When Vanilla Ice started rapping at first, I was like, I couldn't even understand half the things he was saying, so I had to pull up Genius.
Me too.
It sounded like he was like rapping with an accent, but not like as if he was European. Sometimes he would just swallow phrases and not pronounce them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he still sounds like the same dude from the Vanilla Ice song, but, you know, definitely a couple of years older, and now he's just like, oh, well, if I do that, I'm not cool. But, like, there's still the sort of, like, loose flow affectation that he kind of has from before that, like, infects the songs even as it's, like, this completely new sound. Like, you can still tell it's him, you know what I mean? What's that one lyric at the very beginning? He starts off dissing Third Base for their Pop Goes the Weasel song. Did y'all catch that?
Oh my god.
I think they had to cut out the actual name of the song, but like afterwards he says something where he's like, oh, that was a big flip-flop record. Brothers didn't like your record because it wasn't hip-hop, but this ain't a diss because you sold gold. Still I made a killing, but you ain't made 1/10 of 11 million. You know, it's that type of shit. But it's like just specifically him saying like, that record didn't sell because it wasn't hip hop enough. Like, excuse me, Vanilla Ice. Are you the guy that's saying that right now?
As a little bit of background, Vanilla Ice released a follow-up to his debut album in 1994 and addressed Pop Goes the Weasel on that album also. Why can't he let it go? Why is he bringing this song up 8 years later? I looked up Pop Goes the Weasel on Wikipedia, and it had a section that referenced Vanilla Ice's like response. And when it said like, oh, he responded to the song in this song, and I thought it was going to talk about Living, and then it said it was from '94. So I was like, yo, he's already done this once before?
It had been at least 4 years later, and he's still thinking about it. Like, Third Base wasn't even relevant at that point.
I don't get it.
I don't even know if he's thinking about it so much as like he doesn't know what to write about. Because this every song that I heard on this album is directionless.
He's a rich guy fucking around in the studio. You know, he's probably still got some money from the Ice Ice Baby days. He's got no self-awareness, and he's just like, oh, new metal's a new thing. I want to do that. This sounds really fun. Let me do that. Oh, is it where you sound real angry at your parents? Ooh, I'm gonna make lyrics where I'm angry at my parents. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't sound like there's heart to it. Yeah.
There is the song Scars. Scars is one of the few songs on the album that is about something. He talks about, like, being abused as a kid. He says, like, being thrown through the window for watching TV. Where do you think I got my anger? And talking about his drug addiction. I can tell why he wanted to make this, and it does actually seem like Vanilla Ice was just really angry, and he just wanted to do something to get his anger out. It doesn't always sound good. No. Musically, it carries it. Because like the true to my family sentiment was pretty dope. Actually, just before I like make my comment on that song, I wanted to say that my favorite line off of the previous song is, why is that I disperse? I don't know why this is on the song, by the way, but it's just, why is that I disperse? Whoa. I don't know what the fuck that means and why that's part of the hook, but I'm with it. But yeah, Scars, I was kind of I understood where he was coming from. But when did this album come out? Just out of curiosity. 98. 98. So we already have Funk Crusher Plus. And on Funk Crusher Plus, there was what was it? The Last Good Sleep, where LP details like living with an abusive stepfather who beat his mom. And like not knowing how to deal with it, like that. You already had a song where this dude rapped his ass off. The beat was incredible. He tackled the subject matter, and no, there isn't a conclusion because not everything in life has a conclusion. Not everything follows a romantic narrative structure, and I do see sort of Vanilla Ice doing a similar thing here. But it's just without the brain. Yeah, and I thought it was kind of interesting because it's like, the hook is like, my family, true to my family. But then at the end, you know, and in the verses, you know, he's saying something like, never will I be like you.
you, never will I be like you, and the memories are awful, and where do I get this anger? So I kind of do like the idea of him playing with the idea of like, I need to stay faithful to the family because those are the people that hold you down, still hurt me. Like, that complex emotion was kind of interesting, you know?
The conflict is good, but the music and the writing overall is just atrocious.
Yeah, well, it's like a tattoo frozen in a memory. Like, what? What does that mean?
Yeah.
It's like if you remembered a tattoo in your... It's like crazy. That's how deeply it's frozen in my brain, man.
Yeah, I wondered what that meant too. It's like a tattoo frozen in my memory. I think he just meant like it's a memory that's embedded in him and he cannot remove it. But why would you phrase it like that? You know, you could say it in many other ways. You could have just said like a memory embedded in the fabric of my brain, or like embedded in my code. Anything but a tattoo frozen.
It's permanent like a tattoo. You could have just said that, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a frozen tattoo in my memory.
Yeah. I can't seem to erase the stain. So I guess that's why he went specifically with the tattoo, because then he can also like follow up on that. In my brain, things will never be the same. I remember all the lies fucked up. Now I realize, oh my God, I remember all the lies. Now I realize.
I think there's like a couple of times that, hey guys, did you know like realize rhymes with like real lies?
Yeah. I just don't understand how you can be rapping on such a low caliber in the late 90s. Like at this point, people have been using multis for almost a decade. And I'm not saying every line needs to have multis, but we have to move on from saying, now we've all grown and moved along, tried to forget, but my brother did me wrong. Like, every other line felt like, yo.
Like fucking Dr. Seuss shit, yeah.
Yeah, like this is, come on. Like, you know, if you're gonna, it's hard to buy into a song, like pretending to be angry when the rhymes sound like, oh, this is the only thing the person could think of to rhyme.
Right, yeah. Of course he's gonna rhyme this with this. Of course he's gonna rhyme that with that. Because that's what you do when you're just like, oh, what's the first rhyme? Yeah, like, then there's a skit real quick, Ecstasy, where it's just like 5 seconds of just like sped up laughing or something like that.
I don't know why. There's 2 times on this album. There's one point where it's a 9-second track, Ecstasy, before Fuck Me. And then there's another time later where it's just like a 15-second clip before a song. And it's like, that would have worked if you just put that at the beginning of that track. I don't know why it has to be a separate track.
Yeah,
that's
and
weird.
It's so weirdly super serious. It's like, oh, the men are, you know, trying to search for God, but in vain. And I'm like, what the fuck is he doing?
In his mind, he was like, yes, I'll put these skits in between so that I can put together this exquisite tapestry of sonics that I've put together. And this is the way to give people a little moment of a break while they take it in.
Prepare them for the emotions they'll be going through.
I'm conflicted because aesthetically, as a nu metal album, I think this works. And at the end of Living, there's a break where it's not like a verse. I guess it's a bridge. And there's just like this, like, what, like in the background, and it's like going screaming, like left to the right. I actually thought that kind of worked. Yeah. And I'm sitting here like, when Vanilla Ice isn't rapping, I think he's actually doing okay, but when he decides to rap, it also...
You know, I'm expecting, of course, it's the Vanilla Ice nu metal album. You're going to hate this from the rooter to the tutor. You're going to hate every single thing about this. But yeah, as you listen to it, it's like, you know, like, that part sounds kind of solid. It does do some
things right.
Yeah, the fucking drums sound kind of fresh, like the percussions, you know, the snare's really tight, you know?
There are some drum breaks on this album that are really fucking good. Yeah. And it's like, it sucks that it's buried on this.
It's like, yeah,
you know?
No one's listening to this album.
I'm just going to skip real quick to what I would consider to be the worst track on the album.
Okay.
I don't think Rav made it to this point, so for your benefit, I highlighted some lyrics. RC, I don't know if this is your lowest rated song, but it certainly is mine. And just looking through the track listing, I probably could have told you this going in. The Horny song?
Oh my lord. Oh, I didn't need it.
I'm going to pull up the lyrics for myself just to see, because I didn't hear this song yet.
Right off the tail of last week, where we reviewed Drake's Scorpion, there's a track on that album where he goes in detail about all of the sexy things he wants to do. And I think that was also my least favorite song of that album, which isn't to say that a sex song can't be good or enjoyable, but when you come off so sleazy,
so douchey, oh my god, the hook in and of itself, like his voice all throughout this album.
Here I come. Oh no!
Wait, what? Wait, how does the hook go?
The hook is just like, here I come, here I come,
Oh
here
my
I come,
God,
here I
it's
come,
the
come,
worst.
come, here I
It's the
come.
worst that his vocals get. It sounds like the mic's slightly too close, and you can hear every awkward little, like, you know, tick that he has in his vocals. Here I come, here I come. It sounds like
Jesus.
fucking Jim Carrey is fucking dubbing him or some shit. It's so awkward.
That's
Oh
not the
my
worst
God.
it gets. I have these 2 bits highlighted, and I'm sorry for everyone who's about to hear these.
Oh no.
You're like high altitude in a Learjet, working them hips like a piston in a Corvette. Slow down or I'll have to pull you over.
Oh,
Search
God.
ya, handcuff ya, and do a move on ya.
You got a GWB, stands for girl with a body. Oh,
Pump it like a hottie.
get out of here.
Yo. Okay, but there's more. There's more, unfortunately. What you trying to do? Make the ice melt? Don't you know my cream is good for your health? You know you want to shake what your mama gave you. You're getting real hot. Now I'm gonna spray ya. Rub it in like lotion. Juices flowing everywhere like water in the ocean. You got that hourglass figure. All the right moves. And you know I want to dig ya. Got 31 flavors. Know what I mean? And I want to take a dip in your ice cream.
Oh man,
This
Didn't
is
need that.
bottom of the fucking
Didn't
barrel.
need that.
The fucking worst.
I still can't get over the hook and the way that you say he says it. It makes me think of like when I was really young, my friends and I had this joke about the Santa Claus is coming to town song.
yeah.
Where it goes like, you better watch out. And we just go, you better watch out. You better watch out. You better watch out. And it would be like just very scary and like he's constantly approaching you and like, here I come, here I come. Just looking at these lyrics, it's like ramblings of a madman, you know? Like,
Then you get Fuck Me, a diss
Yeah.
track to himself, I think.
okay.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh, he knows what he's calling himself out, except not really, though.
No. No.
You know, it's not like it's a song
it's
where
weird.
he like dresses himself down, like you were this guy, and I'm gonna deconstruct mentally, you know, like the journey that you went through and all that. No, it's just like the most cheesy, oh, did you hear Vanilla Ice dissed himself sort of things. Like at the tail end, he's like, fuck you, Vanilla Ice, you fucking trailer park, yuppie bastard bitch, ice, baby fucker. And on the hook, he sounds so awful, where he says like, fuck you, there ain't nothing you can do. And you hear him in the background saying, you whack bastard. I was like, what was that? You whack
Is that like the
bastard.
SpongeBob impression? Is that like the SpongeBob meme where he's like doing the like, you know, like
little
imitating? Yeah.
The vibe I got isn't a self diss. It almost just felt like he was making fun of people dissing him. That's the vibe
Yeah.
I got. Like throwing it back in their face. Because it really felt like, I wrote down, another primal scream song of self-expression where he's just getting it all out of his system, this pent-up, built-up frustration he's felt with criticism he's got from the fans, from the people who thought he wasn't real. I wanted to mention this real quick. Vanilla
I
Ice
will.
appearing on Arsenio Hall.
Oh, I've seen that.
Oh my god. So...
Oh no.
But I watched it many years ago, so I saw it.
It's really cringy. Arsenio is trying to ask Vanilla Ice the real questions.
Check this out. I want to do something, man. Okay. Before we get into all this stuff, I want to give a special shout out, and I want to bring a homeboy of mine out here. Flavor Flav.
And Flavor Flav just rolls out on stage, and he's like, "Hey, what up, G?" And he like hugs Arsenio, and he's like, "Hey, Ice, what up?" And he's like, "Hey, I love y'all." And then he just leaves.
That sufficiently wasted a little time, but we still gonna get to the issues, Ice.
I think what he was trying to do is that.
I'm
Man,
super
okay.
with the black people. Look, I got
Yeah,
the guy
exactly.
from Public
I've got a
Enemy.
black
Look.
friend. Yeah, I got a black friend.
Arsenio actually says that straight up to him later in the interview. He says, "Is that why you brought out Flav? To show that you had a black supporter?" And the audience, because they're a bunch of Vanilla Ice stans, boo Arsenio. Because for the first minute of the video, the audience won't shut the fuck up screaming like it's goddamn Beatlemania. And he goes on to talk about how, like, as a white rapper, he's got it hard because people don't take him seriously.
Like, you know, it's like, ha, right in your face, you know.
So this is a white rapper being suppressed kind of revenge.
Something like that, yeah.
He just cannot wait to get Ice out off his fucking stage, because whatever joke he tries to go for, Arsenio's like, haha, yeah, but like what I asked was, and just goes immediately back. Talking about like people thinking he's not real. At what point were we ever supposed to think you were?
Oh, I mean, with the Ice Ice Baby, where he's talking about gunshots ringing out like a bell.
Well, that's true. He brings that up in the interview, how he's like, you know, I was stabbed 5 times. I almost died. I'm not proud of that. And, like, Vanilla Ice is one of these deals where, like, I believe he had hard shit happen to him, but I can't take it seriously when you look like he did, when your whole, like, stage performance was what he did. Like, you look like a cartoon.
It's like with MC Hammer. It's like, it turns out he was, you know, down with some Oakland dudes that were, like, fucking, you know, with that life, but you did the fucking Hammerman cartoon show.
He was a little cartoon!
What do you expect me to think?
Gramps opened up the bag and he took out the magical shoes and he soon began to groove.
Oh, we
That's all you needed.
We don't need to tell the viewers the story. They know. They know what's up.
Everybody knows the legend, the fucking legend of Hammerman.
In the third verse of the Fuck Me song, he's like, one short life and I can't die. Some got more pricks than a motherfucking porcupine. Still I'm waiting to die. Cause I burn like your mother says, boil like your father's pride. This doesn't, like, again, this is supposed to be like the diss song to himself. Like, so is this what the haters are saying to him? Ooh,
it doesn't make sense.
You burn like your mother says. What?
Well, who says like, "Ooh, my pride is boiling"?
Yeah, what
like,
was he talking about?
Like, surely you could have come up with other there's so many countless expressions in the world, and I feel like that's what ultimately goes back to. I don't care if Vanilla Ice grew up in the fancy ass suburb. I don't care if he grew up in the hood, in the slums, whatever, right? At the end of the day, if I'm going to judge you for your musical merit, you can't remove that element, right? Yeah. It has to have some sort of artistic value.
Yeah, he's not good at a fundamental level of communicating ideas in ways that don't sound clumsy.
I would much rather listen to Fred Durst any day over this shit.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to listen to Fred Durst.
Yeah.
No, but he's definitely got catchier songs and better ideas than anything on here.
Absolutely.
I don't think Limp Bizkit has any albums on worst albums of all time lists like this is on countless.
No. Well, also, what's interesting about this song is that it really, this is another 90s and early 2000s trope where people would like, oh, people are attacking me, so I'm gonna like mock them and like, people say fuck you.
What's what?
Yeah, I'll basically embody that hate, so that way they can't hurt me. But he's saying things like, oh, fuck Vanilla Ice, he eats shit, fuck him. Like, that's not a diss.
No one's saying that, Vanilla Ice.
Like, it's not in any way, like, saying any of the actual, like, deep
no,
digs
it doesn't address any of that. Yeah. Right, none of the culture vulture shit is addressed here. None of the fact that, you know, he's just a fucking idiot. None of that is being addressed. Like, nobody said out here is like, oh, fuck Vanilla Ice, he keeps eating shit. It's disgusting, this fecal matter eating monster.
We got a whole lot of songs on here that are really kind of nothing tracks, like Zigzag Stories.
Zigzag Stories? What the fuck? Like, it's a song that acts like it's gonna be about, like, oh, like it's gonna be some fucking Afro man. Oh, Zigzag Stories. We're gonna gather around. I'm gonna tell you about all these weird times where I got high and weird shit happened. I was smoking some weed the other day. I rolled a fat blunt and I ripped it this way, and guess what happened? There was this hot chick that showed up and her name was like Mary Jane. And it was like, yo, cause get it? Cause like I'm smoking weed. It's like such an anti-story. It's like, well, yeah, I already knew you were smoking weed. Like, what?
You said that already. there is a really good drum and bass bit later on where like the dude on bass guitar is fucking killing it, and the dude on drums is killing it.
Insane, minus the vocals.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like as a generic new metal album, this doesn't do half bad. But once you got Vanilla Ice rapping over these songs, that's when it falls apart. Which brings us to what nobody asked for.
Let's just say right now, all right, Too Cold, the new metal remix of Ice Ice Baby. I'm gonna just come out and say it. I didn't think it was that bad. Like,
no.
For what I was expecting. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, all right.
The only positive thing about it is that it's not the whole song. Like, I think he leaves off like the whole third verse. That,
he knew when to cut it off.
Hey, Warren Avenue! Like that part's not in there.
Yeah, you can't be saying all that, but good shots ring out like a bell.
Did it stop? Nah, I just rolled by. That whole part is taken out. Like,
what I like about that song is that the first 3 words basically summarize my overall sentiment listening to the album.
All right, stop.
Didn't like this one, surprisingly. I didn't like any of them though, so I don't think spoilers. I didn't think any of these songs were good. But that's the thing. Also, the fact that once you start getting this deep into the album, you start to look for redeeming.
Yeah.
Things about the album, like, oh, that's pretty okay.
Maybe
that's
it.
passable.
Like, if I would have heard Too Cold earlier, I would have been harsher on it. But like, by this point, you're already just in the muck of this sound. So you're like, well, you know, it's not too bad.
It's like opening up a lunchbox and all the food is rotten, and then like picking through like the piece and being like, well, this is almost edible.
Exactly.
Like, my body might find some sort of nutrient or two out of this that may serve me positively, maybe. Like, that's, you know, I don't know.
I will say, as some positives, stomping through the bayou, if it wasn't for stomp
that was the best track with the little switch up between the hook and the verses.
It's pretty fucking solid. I hate to say it. If it didn't have that whack chorus, it would have been pretty damn good.
Yeah, the chorus that's totally ripping off Killing in the Name of. Stomping through the bayou. Stop.
And there's also the last track's not bad either. The one that he's barely on.
Where they're just freestyling, and it's just like, oh, you can tell, yeah, they're just kind of like going off, and the first guy kind of sounds like, it actually sounds like the dude from West Side Connect, making them rappers go off like that, tin and the bang ding, like that totally sounds like, I think, yeah, WC's the one with the very, like, slippery, weird flow.
And I was also kind of pleasantly surprised to hear old Jimmy Pop of Bloodhound Gang on Snafu. I thought he wasn't bad either. See,
I guess.
I think he fits the style more than Vanilla Ice did. So it felt like more of a natural fit.
Yeah, it's like that, like, man, if this guy was here this whole time, this would have been tolerable. Yeah.
He's not bringing his A material.
The last song I heard on this album was Prozac. And I absolutely hated it for a million reasons. I love that he says, stop as I drop this bomb, blow up this place like another Vietnam. I think he's got a misunderstanding. Vietnam, I think he's, yeah, I think he's making a mistake there between Vietnam and Japan, but like, that's fine.
Historical inaccuracies aside.
Yeah, that aside, the hook is really what's the worst thing. He said we get crazy, like Prozac. Come on, man. It's just so, it's offensive. It's incredibly offensive. It's, and I guess it's just a very 90s thing. Prozac is an antidepressant, you know? You're not crazy if you're taking Prozac. It increases your reuptake of serotonin. That's all it really is. So it basically makes it less likely that if you're having like depression that's coming from largely a chemical standpoint, you're less likely to just be in that, you know, place if you're on Prozac. It's basically training wheels for therapy and all that, right? So that you're in.
Oh, but we don't have time for that. You got to hear the lyrics about how he's cool like the ice or vanilla. Hear my flavor. I can't believe he did that.
I'm still baffled how he's got a song called Prozac, which, yes, extremely tasteless and unnecessary. 2 tracks later, it's a song about how he has attention deficit disorder.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
the fucking tone deaf, like
Joyner Lucas shit.
I'm so confused by this. Like, why would you be making these terrible statements and then be like, no, seriously though, my situation, like, yeah, okay. What?
Oh, it's so he can set it up with these lyrics where he's like, get with the style I be using, and there's no dissing, and here's a quick lesson. I carry on with a lesson. That lyric where he's like, I carry on with a lesson.
Yeah, I wonder if it's partially also because, you know, ADD was a hot topic in the 90s of discussion, but I don't think people look at it the same way as other mental health issues, because ADD, he can't focus, you know, even though ADD is serious. I've got ADHD and depression, and for me both of these things are equally very large parts of who I am as a person and how I experience my day-to-day life. But again, the thing is, even though I do think Prozac is tasteless, I don't expect something tasteful from Vanilla Ice. I can't even feel really offended, because it's just, he's an idiot, right? You don't feel offended at an idiot saying stupid things. Yeah, if you feel offended, that means you had better expectations going into it.
I will say though, the ADD song was probably like the most enjoyable, purely because I think he was rapping on it the least.
Oh, okay.
Whenever he was rapping, it was like a very like low key sort of thing where it's like, oh, this is just kind of like a part of the beat, so it's not really like paying. You know what I mean? It's just like part of the fabric of the song. Yeah. And in the hook, where he's saying like, you know, I can't hide from myself. I just can't be myself. Like, I want to peel my skin off and hang it from the shelf. Like, these were lyrics where I was at least going like, I can believe that Vanilla Ice would feel this way. You know, I can believe that Vanilla Ice hates being himself and wishes he could peel his skin off. You know, like,
it has nothing to do with ADD, right? But I believe him still. And what I do also believe, there's the most believable lyrics are on this song, because he says also at one point, die from no pain, a minimal brain. And I was like, yeah, minimal brain for sure. You have the smoothest coconut for a brain. And damn, I'm like an idiot when I go insane. That also I agree. Yes.
Once you get to Stomping Through the Bayou, which is like my favorite track.
That's
it's like,
the clear and away best one. Yeah.
Yeah, for the switch up, the first part was more like driving, you know, it has like the more like faster tempo, and then like you feel the satisfaction of the crunching punch when it hits that killing in the name of part, you know. So like, yeah, purely because of how that switch up happens, that's what like that's how I'm able to get the enjoyability out of that. You know what I mean?
Maybe I should listen to that one. I didn't hear that song.
Actually, so I'd recommend it. It's not a bad cut. If you didn't tell me it's Vanilla Ice, I probably wouldn't be able to guess. Honestly. Yeah. What's really funny is you'd hear it, and I'd be like, hey, that's pretty dope. Who is that? And you'd be like, Vanilla Ice. And I'd be like, wow, cool. So that's what he was doing in the late 90s? Maybe I should check out. They'd be like, no.
Right, yeah.
That's literally the only one. The whole rest of the album is shit. You don't need to hear any more of it.
To me, though, even if it's kind of okay, if it turns out to be an okay song, there's so much great and good music out there.
You don't have to waste your time.
You don't have to put yourself through this. This maybe has some historical value and comedic value.
Yeah,
but overall, you're probably okay.
At the end of your music intake, and you're like, I've listened to like all the songs that I like. I wonder if any bad musicians have one or two good songs. That's when you can maybe come to this.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely like a pride in knowing bad music, right? It's kind of like, you know, when you meet someone who's never watched Birdemic before, right. You're like, oh, okay, like, hold on, let me put you on. Yeah, let me put you on game. And it's the same with really bad albums, right? Where it's like, have you ever heard this? And they're like, no. You're like, oh, okay, you're about to have a great time.
Oh, yeah, I remember me and my friends in college, we listened to the Shaq Fu album. That was.
Oh yes, that's a great example. Exactly, it still has entertainment value in how bad it is, right? And how serious it was taking itself.
Hey, RC, what overall score did you get for this?
I gave it a 1.5. And that felt too high, honestly. But it was purely because of the musicality of like, holy shit, like that snare and that percussion sounded pretty solid. Like, holy shit, if we had Rage rapping over this exact same instrumental, this could be incredible. You know what I mean? Like, I hear the potential of it, but it's just sloppy enough where it's just like, no, but then Vanilla Ice it's still here. You know?
I am not proud to report that I got a 2.
Oh, wow, look at you.
So a smidge higher than
Being
yours.
too nice to Vanilla Ice, look at you.
I'm telling you, man, it's really the instrumentals that saved
really, I feel you though. Yeah,
they carry a good bit of this album, and it's just like, man, you're ruining it. Everything else here is pretty okay to honestly good, but yeah, it's not worth sitting through everything else to listen to it. Never, absolutely would have listened to this if it wasn't requested by listeners. So you could always say that that's
so much.
that's the fucking aside from the monetary support, that is definitely a pretty big part of this. Is like, you're broadening my experience. Like I got XP from this.
You know, I'm the person who likes going to Insane Clown Posse songs and being like, oh, hey, but this one's actually kind of interesting. So, like, I enjoy, like, trudging through the shit of music to find what is like, oh, but if you look at this one, this is actually not too bad. You know what I mean?
It's really cool that you guys do get recommended this kind of stuff, all jokes aside, because I don't think anyone else is talking about these things. And it's kind of curious. It's like these little cultural curiosities that are lost in time and most people didn't sort of even notice. So it's kind of interesting. And I guess it's fun to see how low one's bar can get in terms of expectations for music or time.
And also how stuff from 98 that we've never heard before kind of ages and how it plays in 2020. Like, maybe it's considered one of the worst albums of 98, but does it hit different in the modern day?
Yeah.
No, not really, but it can. There's a potential.
It's kind of worth the effort.
I think it's so funny when I was reading up on the production, and the guy who produced this album, who I said before is very accomplished, he was told by the label, like, do not work with Vanilla Ice. He's going to destroy your, like, career. He's going to bring you down with him. Everybody was like, no. And the producer said, well, if nobody wants me to work with them, then I gotta work with them, because that's like punk rock. Like, it's punk rock.
I want to go along with the sentiment, you know, just like that's sort of like, oh, giving the guy a shot, you know, when everyone's saying he's down.
He's the fucking underdog. No one wants to give him a shot. I gotta see what he's gotta say. And when Vanilla Ice is saying, like, hey, I want this to be hard and dark, you're like, whoa, a hard, dark album from the fucking Ice Baby guy? Yeah, I need to hear this. And then it comes out and, like Raph mentioned earlier, doesn't chart. And then the very following album, I think, is self-produced and released on an independent label. So that relationship didn't pan out either. That punk rock relationship didn't pan out. As previously mentioned with the listener requested album reviews, if you're listening and you think that this is appealing to you and you have an album that either you like and you want to hear our thoughts on, you want to maybe turn us on to it, maybe something we haven't heard before, you want to share with the class, or something you want to torture us with. People have been known to do that also. It is reduced for the rest of the month of November, which is not a lot of time. So, I actually, by the time this goes up, you might only have one day left, depending on if this goes up on Saturday or Sunday. But, Ko-fi.com, that's ko-fi.com/goinoff. That's GOINOFF. The price of a request is reduced by $10, so that means your album review would now be $50 instead of $60. And if there's an album that you produced yourself and you want to bring it to us and get our thoughts on your work, it is $60 instead of $70. So you have a little bit more time to take advantage of that deal. It's like a Black Friday deal for the whole month of November. So time is running out. When is the album dropping? Or, yeah.
27th. So.
Oh, okay. So it will be out by the time this goes up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm on to me, right? I don't have it open.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm on him.
I'm on to me. I love the fucking, was it like Fiverr promo video?
Oh yeah.
That was great. I love that fucking music video, dude. That video was so fucking pretty.
Man.
I loved it.
Oh man, thank you.
And the album is
Appreciate
great
it.
also, obviously. I feel like that goes without saying, but I will absolutely tell you that that album is great.
It's very sweet of you. Thank you. I'm curious to see how people are going to receive it. It's definitely not like what I think people have come to expect from me, and not necessarily an indication of where I'm going, but very important time capsule for me and a moment of catharsis. I'm like, because it's not out at the time we're recording this, I'm still like really anticipating just having it out, because for a lot of artists, making music is very cathartic. For me, it's only about half of it. The release is a big thing, because I talk about very uncomfortable experiences and thoughts, and as a very deeply insecure person, I find strength in putting it out there into like the public, because it feels like, look, I'm not scared to talk about these things, and it starts to feel like I own my shortcomings. So I'm looking forward to that moment of releasing it and feeling like I can let go of a lot of these things and just continue on my path forward. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm on To Me is out now. You can stream it on all streaming platforms. And I'm on To Me is just an embarrassingly intimate account of a number of arduous personal experiences and emotional discoveries that I underwent this year. And I was actually working on an entirely different album at first, but ended up having to put it on hold, like aside, as I felt an urgent need to address a gross, festering wound. And now I'm making people look at it. So
I think that's awesome, where it's like, I didn't seek out to do this, but like it just felt like the thing to do. And that feels
evolved, yeah.
It feels so much more natural than like an obligation. Like, well, I guess I better do this. It's like, no, I need to do this. And it does come across.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, my music is, if it was like a book, it would either be a diary or a memoir. So there's only so much you can really plan ahead. You might have an idea in mind of what you're going to do, but then life, tosses you a curveball, and then you're like, oh, well, okay, now I have to deal with that before I can do anything else. Yeah. So so that's how my music has always been. That's how I've always made my music, and this time it is no different. And yeah, I'm super excited to get it out of the way so I can work on other music. And I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you so much.
Any fucking time. I know we say that every time, and I know I said that in the Twitter DM, and I don't mind saying this openly because it might explain why 2020 was the way it was. I get very anxious when it comes to sending emails to even friends and people we've had on the show numerous times about inviting y'all on. I just get very like, oh, what if, what if they're busy, or what if, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like...
What do they want with us? Get their company mixed up with us.
I'll always make time for you guys, because you guys were there, just over 4 years ago when you guys first talked about Beneath the Toxic Jungle and everything. And you guys have been incredibly supportive and cool. And I enjoy the discussions we have. It never feels like a laborious thing to come on here. It always feels fun, and it's something that I look forward to. And you don't even have to send me an email, just DM me, I like to keep things pretty informal. And
loser, we're podcasting today.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially because it's just, I don't know. I feel like I just want to, I do a lot of things, and I want to do a lot of things. And so I never notice how much time passes. So the other day when I was hitting you guys up, I was like, when was the last time we talked? I'm like, oh my God, it's been more than a year.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank everyone listening. Also, obviously, I want to thank you for joining us and taking the time out of your schedule to sit down and chat us up. And anyone who might have never listened to the show before today, I'm sure that happens. All of our old episodes are on.
Yeah, there's someone out there who's like, I wonder what someone on the internet thinks of the Hard to Swallow Vanilla Ice album.
They hit the Google search of, quote, hard to swallow, quote, review, quote podcast, and they hit that on Google on a weekly basis, and it never brings up any results, much to their dismay. This week will be the moment they've been waiting literal years.
They can thank their lucky stars.
Oh my God, the grin, the Christmas gift, the Christmas miracle that we will give this one person who's been Googling this very specific topic year after year. We do it for you. And if you're just happen to listen and you think, well, what other albums have these two fools reviewed over the years, over the past, oh my God, like 6 years? All the old episodes are on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud. One of those is bound to work for you. Do some catch up over the holiday season before going off.
And I'm Rap Critic, and if there was an album and everyone boos it, check out the show while the podcast reviews it. Off, baby. Do. We're going off, baby. Do. But it's not his song. See, I put a little bitty ching in there, so it's like my original song.
Dude, you single-handedly saved hip-hop.